This summer in theaters, catch the world's newest hero. In a world where danger lurks everywhere, one man stands above the rest. Where his weapon is the only thing that keeps evil at bay, he teaches AP Bio, earth science, and directs the school plays. Occasionally, he volunteers at the school dances, and in the summer, he teaches drivers ed. He often works 50 to 60 hours a week for what some say is a criminal wage. This summer, meet the world's newest hero, the teacher.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hot Takes. Please welcome your host, Tim Payne.
Hey, everybody! Thank you guys so much for coming out to Hot Takes, our very first episode. So a little bit about the show. We are going to do a panel discussion a little bit later about some of the hot button issues in the news, and then occasionally an improv troupe, our ensemble, the Hot Takes players, are going to they're going to kind of improvise based off of what our discussion is. Cool? Awesome. You guys having fun tonight? Cool. Awesome. But first, we're going to jump into some headlines. So earlier this evening, actually, Donald Trump said he plans to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. In unrelated news, North Korea is getting a sweet new hotel. It is super sad. The Bay City Police responded to a call last month reporting a Dementor in Smith Park. And since Muggles can't see Dementors, I assume it's because the caller noticed this soulless man wandering around. Paul Ryan. Beardy Paul Ryan, too. It was reported last week that White House calligraphers now have a higher security clearance than Jared Kushner. This ghost. Often calligraphers need access to top secret information in order to craft state dinner messages. In fact, for real, a big state dinner is coming up, and I think we have a sample of their work. Very good, Henry. A bipartisan bill was introduced in Congress last week that seeks to bring more accountability to the NCAA and how college athletes are treated for things like concussions, injuries, and compensation. Hidden in the bill is the creation of a presidential commission that would study the athletes' form.
No.
The foremost expert. The Boston Red Sox have asked if the city can change the surrounding street back to its original name because of racial overtones with the current name. The Sox are trying to get it changed back to "You fucking douchebag Avenue." You fucking douchebag. Oh, that's the Boston accent. On the side, it would be really low. Climbers on the Mount Denali will now have to bag and carry their poop with them off the mountain, as the 215,000 pounds of poop on the trek are threatening the ecosystem and the water supply. Most climbers are unhappy about this, but they're committed to taking their duty seriously.
Yes!
Ouch. In unsurprising news, two former staffers accused conspiracy theorists and potato you forgot to poke holes in, Alex Jones, of I guess at least now we know 2 of the ingredients in Jones' secret 12 supplement. He sells that shit for real, don't no, it's true. The Utah House of Representatives shamed school, shamed. They did a version. They did a version of Schoolhouse Rock by they released this video explaining how a bill becomes a law, and let's just take a look watch.
Now this is a story all about how our bill gets lifted to the law. I'd like to take a minute and just sit right there.
So how a bill becomes law on this first change bad?
Nope. As you can probably tell, most of these representatives have A, never seen the Fresh Prince, and the decision to rap is curious considering the obvious lack of diversity. This video is so white and tone deaf, Donald Trump should make it his new communications director. Don't yell at me, yell at them. This month, Chip and Joanna Gaines of Fixer Upper fame are opening a restaurant in Waco, Texas. The menu will include items like buttermilk biscuits, avocado toast, and a plate slathered in shiplap. Last week, the city of Hamtramck was released from state receivership and is no longer considered financially insolvent. The city responded by spending its entire budget on a giant butch cake. Yeah, you wish it were real. A plastic surgeon in New York City is coining a new phrase called Snapchat dysmorphia because more and more people are having surgery to look like the skin smoothing, eye enlarging Snapchat filters. And this is a serious problem, and I don't mean to joke about it. I mean, my wife is going through something similar. I honestly don't like to joke about that shit, but I just wanted to show my dog. A couple in Jackson are filing a federal lawsuit after local officials blocked their plans to open a couples swingers club. A Christian, how do you say that? Epicurean. Epicurean. Thank you. We gotta like put this shit in phonetically. This place would have been a private membership adult couples social club. That was their problem in Jackson. They should have just called it an alternative gun club, and they would have been fine. Dating app Bumble banned any pictures in which the users are posing with any deadly weapons of any kind. Oh, great. Now without pics like this, how is a woman supposed to tell if a dude has a small penis? The oldest message in a bottle, this is for real, the oldest message in a bottle was discovered on a beach in Australia recently. And the message was confirmed to be 131 years old and in German and in relatively good shape. And I believe we have the message. We have it? There it is. Awesome, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Stay in your seat, a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Around 20 years ago, this as of yet unknown actor was awaiting death at a No Mercy Kill shelter for dogs on a vagrancy ramp. Ready to die, this shivering, anxious actor, observing through his chicken wire cage, beheld a suddenly divided heavens through which shone sunny hope. At that very moment, the young Henry Connick Jr. came crooning through the hallways of that sterile death row, scouting leads for his next picture. Perhaps all the other sad inmates felt discouraged when hark. The sad-eyed, four-legged mongrel, Mr. Hugh Laurie, poked his soggy nose into the outstretched palm of Mr. Connick Jr. It was love at first nuzzle. Hugh Laurie won an Oscar for that role as Skip, that dear sweet pooch from the movie My Dog Skip, starring Frankie Muniz. And now you know the rest of Hugh Laurie. I'm Paul Harvey. Good day.
An incredible work of theatrical arts and one of the greatest musicals of all time visits the Motor City. Les Miserables.
At the end of the day, you're another day older. And that's all you can say for the life of the poor.
It captured your imagination. It captured your hearts. Now it will capture your imagination again. Les Miserables.
I had a dream my life would be so different from this hell I'm living.
The winner of 8 Tony Awards, Laurence Olivier Awards, and the Drama Desk Award. Les Miserables.
And little people know when little people fight. We made the easy thinking spot, we got so fun.
Now see the historic Fisher Theater, where Jersey Boys was, across the street from the Trick Curtis. Les Miserables.
Of the opera is there inside your
See it now. Sponsored by Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza.
Interview and with some improv. So give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for our special guests tonight. For our very special guests, give it up for Mark Sobolewski, everybody. Give it up for Jessica Loria, everybody. And give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Scotty Myers, everybody. You're our very special guest tonight. So just to get you to know you a little bit, and for our audience to get to know you, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 44. I'm a teacher. I work in Ann Arbor Public Schools. What else do you want to know?
No, that's great. That's good.
I think that's going to pertain to what.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's kind of why we had you on tonight. Is we wanted to talk about gun control, because gun control is like the most forefront thing domestically, I think, right now. And
I have some other pressing stuff with some Housewives episodes, but
sure, yeah.
I bet the Housewives carry. Some of them I bet do, those Orange County bitches.
So let's jump right in to gun control. The biggest thing that we keep hearing about right now is, should we arm teachers?
Yeah.
Should we arm teachers?
I found a piece of lettuce in our copying machine. Real? Like someone kept bitching that the copies kept coming out with these big black smells. And I was like, well, let's open up this little trap door thingy down here, and I opened it up, and there was lettuce hanging out. Like
somebody was making copies and eating.
Fucking PE teacher. Was eating over the copy.
And didn't notice.
Right. Copying is like jock return.
So those are the people we want to arm armed with
Right, yeah.
super
And I've heard this argument like, you know, if there are veterans who are teachers, well, there are, you know. The two veterans that I work with, one is the antisocial, union-hating, chronic pain-suffering dude who works in a basement classroom.
Yeah.
And then the other one is blind in one eye from actual war.
Right, right. So yeah, that's kind of a...
Those would be the two people that would have guns.
Right, that's like a generalization, right? So like just to say that like, well, we'll just arm the veterans, or you know, well,
Right.
it's a very...
Arm the ones that we've destroyed mentally.
Right.
Refuse to service.
Yeah. So thoughts, you guys? I'm giving you a chance.
Hi.
So should we arm teachers?
Obviously, I'm like, more guns. No, why would I be like that? No, it's ridiculous for many reasons. Lettuce being just the tip of the iceberg.
But your mom's a teacher, right?
Yeah, she's a teacher. She teaches. Well, she's a math consultant now at a Title I elementary school. So I just, first of all, picturing my mom with a gun is like the funniest thing in the world. She next weekend on St. Patrick's Day signed us up for a puzzle contest at a library. This is like
at like 10 a.m.
I think the president thought this through because does he really want to give menopausal women across the nation access to handguns?
Yeah.
Because they're coming after dudes like him.
Right.
Well, and the question is, and it really is, like, what about the teachers that are afraid of their students? Or like a teacher who has like, there was a viral video going around the other day on my conservative friends, the 6 of them that are left on my Facebook page. We're sharing this video of a student just going off on a teacher, so much that the teacher was visibly scared of this student and backing into a corner, and the teacher was up. I thought the teacher was going to punch him.
Right. It would be days before there's some sort of self-defense case.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, it's dangerous. That's the only
Well, yeah. And, well, I mean, if the goal really is to keep guns out of school, even if we were to only arm 10% of public school teachers in this country, that would be about 1 million guns being brought into public schools every single day of America.
Well, I have to imagine as a teacher, like you right now, I mean, I'm sure you could share a ridiculous thing.
I don't even know where my puppy dry erase marker is.
What I was going to say, like, if a student acts up in class, or the student has a nosebleed, or a student has brings the wrong lunch item to
I'm
class.
gonna blow their fucking
Nobody boom. But no, if something happens like that, there are protocols that you have to do, correct? If you have a form to fill out, probably there's steps that you have to do.
We literally have a protocol. It's a flip book, and there's a page in there for if you see a mushroom cloud.
Okay.
Like if there's a nuclear war and you see a mushroom, it tells us what to do. So yes, there's protocol for everything.
So how detailed now is the protocol going to have to be if you are responsible for a weapon that can kill someone, and like when do you use it? When do you pull it out? Where do you keep it? Is it armed?
Yeah, I don't know. The actual answers to those questions at this point to this teacher don't mean anything because the day they allow that to happen is the day I quit.
Yeah.
I had a guy at work actually talk to me today about this, and he's a gun owner his whole life, and his thinking was like, if I've been a responsible gun owner my whole life, and I'm a teacher, should I be allowed to do this? Just I have my own free will. Like, should I be allowed to do this? Just maybe not even being paid extra, but just as a safety precaution for yourself. itself. How do you feel about that? Should that be allowed? Should that? No.
Well, I was going to say that, so until I thought about what I just said, the protocol of having a gun in the classroom by the teacher, that seems like the reasonable compromise between like what's being proposed on teachers having guns and guns absolutely not, is that someone is going to say, well, if a teacher's a gun owner and they're responsible, why not let them bring it? But it becomes like, what is the standard?
Well, I guess
it's a huge liability.
I think there's a lot of people that need to be held accountable in this situation who aren't held accountable at all. And the fact of the matter is our state legislatures have stripped us of our funding, and we had to lose every single liaison officer that was ever placed in our schools. So, like, a police officer with a gun used to be a normal thing in every public school. Very few public schools have those anymore. So,
really? Okay. I've not had it.
Usually that's like when you have to cut your, when you have to make cuts in your budget, jobs like that are the first to go.
Right.
So now they're going to come back armed and like.
Well, no, now that they just want to give, the home ec teacher a gun. Right. They don't have those anymore.
I've lost a ladle. What do I do?
Alright. No, this is okay. We've got protocol for this. We're good. We're good to go. We're good to go.
I've lost the ladle. I can't serve the soup. What am I going to do?
Alright, first of all, we've got a backup ladle. You just got to break through that glass.
Okay, well that seems rather extreme. Are there other steps? What?
We're hungry.
You're gonna scoop it with your hands? It's chili day.
I mean, I will. To serve the children of this community, I will burn my
Here,
hand.
don't be a baby.
No.
It's fine. Use the emergency ladle.
I don't have proper designation, whether that's the proper ladle. It needs to be a B35.
Kids are hungry, man.
Yeah.
As long as you're safe, you can be hungry a little longer.
I'm gonna transfer to another fucking school.
Fine. Have fun in Canton.
Fine, I'll go to Canton.
Canton cheese fries. It sounds way better. Not someone bitching about using a ladle.
Listen.
Authority. Guys, I have a fucking ladle.
Listen, we don't know if that's a 35B or not.
It's a C310.
We can't use that.
What the fuck is it?
That's only for noodle and ramen soup. This is a cream-based soup. It's clearly known in this school system that a 35B ladle must be used on cream-based soups.
Bill, let me tell you something. This is a time of emergency.
Is it, Sally?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought back in 07. But I don't know anymore.
Don't bring up the spatula again, all right? That sounds way better.
Listen, public beef must be flipped with a spatula designated with an R5. We did not have an R5, Sally. We did not have an R5!
Okay, one kid got sick. It was fine.
And it was all on me.
Hey, we're gonna go across, see the checkers and the manager.
You can't leave campus. What if something happens?
We're hungry.
When that class breaks, we're on lockdown.
We're responsible. We are local parenti. That's Latin for we're responsible for your fucking ass.
Doesn't this seem a bit excessive?
Have you been in public schools your whole life? Does this seem excessive? I think not.
Yes. Yes.
Just want chili.
Too late. Too late! This whole damn thing.
Billy,
What?
sorry that I got you to school late.
I mean, to school late.
Yeah.
They won't let me in.
Well, you missed the field trip. You missed everything. I'm sorry.
Greenfield Village. Greenfield goddamn Village, Mom.
Okay, watch your language.
No! This is the perfect time to not watch my language. Glass blowing, Mom? Ever seen it? IRL? History coming to light before my little eyes.
I didn't want to break this to you, but I'm homeschooling.
You're homeschooling me?
That's right. I don't trust this goddamn public school.
Mom!
Sorry.
school, Mom, but I don't want to spend all day there.
Hi. You want to go into this school? You want to be taught by some teachers that leave their lunch in the copy machine? Go and take it.
Yeah.
You know, my copy machine is clean at home because we don't own one.
It's true. We don't.
Look, it's going to be for your own good, okay? Your father and I have talked about it, and homeschooling is just as good of education as public school these days.
I don't believe it. I don't like it. You'll learn things in there. You know? You'll learn how to like deal with bullies and they're talking about giving teachers guns now, Mom. Guns! That's crazy!
Oh, that makes me want to send you in there?
Yeah, because then I can like...
Your dad's got a lot of guns.
Yeah, he does.
And we leave it wide open for you.
You do?
For this next session, I wanted to start off with with some facts. There are around 12 to 18 school shootings already this year in 2018. It's been 9 weeks, so 12 to 18.
There's a couple that were just like...
Yeah, there are a bunch that we didn't really hear about. So the gun violence in 2018, there's been, in 2018, 2,000 gun-related deaths already. 2,000. 2,000, yeah. Over 100 children killed, 41 mass shootings, 304 unintentional shootings. So I found those on a wonderful website that I forgot the name of, but still, that's crazy, right? That's a lot.
I mean, yeah, if we could attribute those deaths to any other thing, right. I'm assuming there would be like national outcry.
Right. So you might have heard or seen like a meme or something online, but the idea that we had one guy with a bomb in his shoe, right. And now we all have to take our shoes off at the airport to get on a plane.
Yeah.
It's a similar kind of idea that, like, you know, how did we not have that serious dialogue after the first one, or after the second?
How are we so arrogant not to look at other models around the world?
Right.
There was, I don't know if you heard about this yesterday, there was an attack at a high school in the Netherlands. Did you hear, did anyone hear about this? There was an attack at a high school in the Netherlands. I hate to have a smile on my face, but it doesn't, no one does, so I'll preface that. Because, you know, there are no guns in the Netherlands. Right. The guy had knives on him, and he was chased off of the school ground by students that he had scared because he had knives on him. So they swung their backpacks at him until he ran away. Wow. And then the police caught him, and you know the children got the emotional support they needed, and this guy's gonna get the mental health.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say something crazier than backpacks, like he was chased off by like dogs. Or what do they eat in the Netherlands? Food, I guess. Or I was gonna say something like I was gonna say something like chocolate or beer. What's that?
Stroopwafels.
Yes.
Whatever that is. They're throwing it or tossing it. It's a cookie?
Yeah, really good.
And like, you know, creamy fish.
Yeah, right. So those kind of things you never hear. Japan outlawed guns. Australia bought back all of their guns. Now they haven't had. They've had like one death.
Right.
Yeah.
Gun-related.
Well, and like the anti-gun control, the pro-gun, the NRA people like to say, well, it's mental health, or we have all these other things, as though those other countries don't have that.
Right.
You know, as though they're like the U.S. is somehow unique in like the way that it is as far as like mental health and stress and anger and all of those things. And that exists in other places.
Right. Can you guys help me out with this? Because I've been having a hard time with this, and maybe I'm missing something here. But like these NRA people, I don't know what you call them. Members, the NRA members, seem to be overwhelmingly Republican and overwhelmingly Trump supporters. Now, isn't the whole point of the right to bear arms is to protect yourself from your government?
Right.
Like, these people seem so paranoid. Like, you've got it. The government is yours.
Yeah. Because Obama is still alive.
Oh.
That's the thing. Is like seriously, my aunt, this is true, this is 100% true. My aunt, and I think I texted you this because you got into it with her on Facebook at one point. My aunt, when I was a child, my aunt had a gun shop off the back of her kitchen. Like, you would walk around, like her kitchen was here and you'd walk through a door and there was like, it was about the size of this stage, this area here, and there were 1,000 guns in there. And she, and ammunition and everything, and she sold guns out of the back of her kitchen. And
that
so
is some backwoods Pennsylvania
Yeah.
shit.
And, like, do you want some waffles and how about a block?
The funny, well, she lived actually in a city in Pennsylvania. It's a rather western Pennsylvania city. But like she's so, well, I mean, it's not backwoods, but like she is so like every single thing on Facebook is Obama's fault. Like seriously, she blamed the snowstorm on Obama. I am not even joking. It was we're doing it all. Backwards. But like it's for some reason, and then if you watch like the NRA TV, like John Oliver's bit this week, it was amazing. You watch some of the NRA TV and you watch what they say to their members, and you can start to understand how like people have this like intense fear.
Well, I've seen the pictures of those people with their bullet crowns and their rifles in church, getting their rods of steel blessed. Maybe those rods of steel were just
suppressed homosexuality.
So that kind of brings up something that there are now factions of gun owners. So I don't want to come down on all gun owners because there's a large piece of gun owners that are law-abiding and they're respectable gun owners, and they want to keep it that way. So, and they're overwhelmingly in favor of gun control too, because I think my thinking on it is that if I were a gun owner, I don't want some asshole ruining it for me, and it's being ruined, and that kind of makes me think that the criticism of the NRA is justified, that they are not only their propaganda, which they clearly are, or borderline an organization that is inciting fear and inciting violence.
They are like such a small minority group. They're just a really loud one.
Right.
It's like on like gun regulation, we're actually like really close if you read like the statistics. It's like something like 95% of Americans are like, yeah, we want background checks, and like 80% are like, we don't think people should be able to buy assault rifles in a store, and like basic stuff. We're actually like really close on it. So it's just like really like vocal NRA funded minority that is like, no, there should be no laws and more guns for sale. And if we could just like, get them to shut up.
Right. I mean, and that kind of that they have a lot of money because they're being funded by a majority from the gun manufacturers themselves. So there's a lot of money coming in and out of the hands of a lobbyist group, which the NRA is, but they started off as a hobby group. I mean, could you imagine like a different hobby group now containing this like kind of power?
Scrapbookers.
Come on. You gotta protect yourself. Buy this trapper keeper. Come on. Hey. Sometimes you're gonna get in trouble protecting
Is it
yourself.
a 5-star Trevor Keeper?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Comes with the folders and everything?
Oh yeah. Hold on, I got even better one. I got this Lisa Frank one too. This is a badass one.
It's very presumptuous that you think I want Lisa Frank.
I
mean, I do, but don't assume.
I mean, hey, I like it too. It's colorful. Anyway, look, all I'm saying is, you gotta look out for yourself. You don't know what random people out here gonna just come in and attack you. It's real out here in the Netherlands, okay?
That's why I'm here, okay? I understand. I'm not gonna let anybody do what they tried before, right? This time I'm gonna be ready for them. No one was there this time. They were ready. Paper cuts are really hard to heal.
No, they're really bad. I know. I remember one time I got a paper cut. Damn, man, I was shit. It was a lot of pain. It was a real battle scar, man.
Why are you helping me?
Why am I helping you?
Yeah. You were a bully before, and now you're helping everybody?
I'm helping you because, I realized that we in the same game. You know what I'm saying? We're all kids just trying to, make it out here. You know what I'm saying? And, we just cut from the same cloth. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? At the same time, I need some money too. That's why I need some money.
Okay, I'm sorry you have to come through the washroom, but here, you can just get your guns this way.
All right.
Okay, Trish, find anything you like?
I like it all, to be honest with you.
Man.
Anything in automatic, semi-automatic?
Whatever, just something that'll shoot.
Yeah, you got one with 2,000 rounds.
Stop selling! What in God's name?
Shut up, pansy. Jesus Christ, who the fuck wears dots with solids? I'm here to tell you.
Oh boy.
This store is closed by order of the gays.
You can't do this to us, Stuart.
Hey, you can't do this to us, Stuart. Get that wand out of here.
This is our God-given right.
Don't push me, Matt, or I'll tell you what you wanted me to do with that wand last night.
Oh! I won't push you. I won't touch you.
Matt, what is he talking about?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, Matt's gay as hell.
I am not gay. Give me that big one with the grenade launcher.
All right, that's 20% additional.
Please, Matt, nothing screams I have a small cut penis more than an A15, whatever the fuck they're called, AR, whatever.
It's an A15.
Small cut, what does that? Out of wax.
What that means is if you come over tonight, I will show you my bump stock. That's a gay gun joke.
All right, Randy's, come in. Welcome to the National Randy Association. All right, I guess we have a smaller group than we thought.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Late
there's
Randy's
Randy.
here.
Okay, well, we'll start every meeting like we always do with the Randy Pledge.
I, Randy, pledge to be Randy for all eternity. And if anyone tries to fight with me or any Randy, I will run a bit. Okay, for our last section, I wanted to kind of talk about, we talked about some of the problems with gun control, arming teachers, but what is the next step? So the dialogue has been started, but it seems like it's already failing, and it's already, it's still the forefront of the news. I think a lot of people still want gun control, but I feel like I don't know, what's next? What do we do?
We listen to these kids.
Yeah.
We do, yeah, of course. It's just really, I've had to watch some things in the news coverage that are really disheartening when you have these kids who have just experienced such incredible trauma they are putting themselves in the face of these senators and Congress people, and they will ask them questions to their face and get no answer in return. Like, these people have no shame when it comes to addressing the types of donations they're given by the NRA, how they plan to vote in the future. They give no responses whatsoever. Like, we have to vote these fucks out of office.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the. Thank you, Robert. That's one thing. That's a long-term thing. Is there a compromise right now that we can all agree to?
Well, okay, I will say something. I will say, and this goes for gun control, and I think it goes for like just sort of across the political spectrum right now. We need to calm the fuck down with all of the memes and all of like that the stupid shit that people just immediately share, no matter what it is. Like I have a very super progressive friend who, like, I was watching, like, he had like 6 memes in a row, and 5 of them were completely not accurate at all. And they were liberal memes. They were like crazy. They, like you mentioned in the last segment, like that there were 18 gun shootings.
Yeah.
Like, remember when the news first came out? There was like, that number was pedaling around. Like, there was like 180. Like, and it was like they took all of the shootings and they were attributing them to guns instead of just 18 that were specific about that.
So it's hard to tell.
And so it's like, before we, I think, say something, before we post something, before we jump on the bandwagon, you have to be the person that checks your own facts first. Like, that is something that we have to be responsible to do, and not just jump on any bandwagon.
And get the fuck off of social media, because, like, honestly, I think social media is great for potentially sharing pictures of your dogs, which we are all fucking guilty of up here. But right, you saw the picture. But I think beyond that, I think social media has been such a harm to that kind of thing, because it's this false sense of like, I'm contributing, but you're really not. I mean,
like pride of like, I've done something today.
Yeah.
No, you just retweeted somebody else's article. That's, you don't get any gold star for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to like maybe tell your friends that who might not be reading the news, like, hey, there's this bill that's coming up. Maybe call your senators, which I try to do occasionally. But I think beyond that, it's tough because there is so much disinformation out there, and you could say that liberal stuff is just as crazy on the other end as the right sharing stuff about Obama. I mean,
both sides are guilty of some of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So again, what else can we do? Universal background checks?
Well,
what's bare minimum?
But even those would have to be enacted by some sort of legislative body.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
a good place to start. I mean, as a teacher, I know when I've had to go to someone and say, hey, I have a kid that's a little scary, or that I'm a little concerned about. I think we could start with better responses than we should probably start there before we start just doling out guns to people. Like, how about a response to, hey, this kid seems a little dark and scary.
Sure.
Something better than.
So that's like so you're saying starting with mental health in schools. Now, how would you do that? Would you have a therapist on site at all times? Are you?
I read something today that the only way, like, there's a a national council, I'm not going to pretend to know the name because I literally just read this today, but a plan has been placed out for American schools by a bunch of psychologists and professors and whatnot. It will never fly anywhere because it would cost money, but it's basically that this issue with gun violence in schools has to be addressed as a community health project. We have to attack this like we would a disease or an epidemic, an outbreak of something, where you don't wait for it to happen, you go out into the community to prevent it.
It's just there.
So all of the preventative measures have to be brought back into schools, but that takes a lot of resources, and we get one counselor per 300 students in public schools. So maybe starting with some more counseling services, more social workers,
like a counseling task force.
Absolutely.
Like a bus of therapists that just drive around solving mysteries.
Yes. At the end of the day, we have to demand that, because at the end of the day, it is a lot cheaper to just put some guns in schools.
Right. And you know, it's interesting because what you said is very interesting, because like it is a community health issue.
Yeah.
When you get down to it, when you talk about these kids, when you talk about like a lot of the shooters, a lot of the mass shooters have health problems, like mental health problems, and conveniently, the NRA and our Congress made it, because it used to be tracked under a health issue. The CDC used to track gun violence.
Right.
The CDC used to do all that, and they said, oh, guns aren't health.
Yeah.
And they cut it out. And so our government can't even do a study on how many guns kill people. Because of it.
So that addresses violence in schools, and that would eventually filter on to adulthood. But again, that still doesn't address the problems of like the Vegas shooter, who was an adult male. Coincidentally,
That's
all of the
just
shooters are male.
Toxic masculinity, right? That's just like teaching white dudes that anything is theirs, and if they don't get it, something's wrong with the world. So why don't I go out and shoot a bunch of people because something's wrong with all of you? And so I think it's just like teaching boys they don't have to, the world doesn't work like that. We shouldn't live that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of like all part of it too. And I guess what I'm trying to get at too is maybe, the argument is like, oh, somebody that wants to hurt somebody is always going to be able to find the gun. And the idea is, well, yeah, because the guns are the problem. The mass shooter in Vegas could have had counseling, but he still could have harmed people, but without the guns, he wouldn't have done it on such a grand scale. And that's why I keep going back to, I think mental health is great. What if you can't diagnose it in time? What if you can't find adequate care? What if they go off their medication if they're on it and they have access to guns? And to me,
I guess my logical response to that would be, you can screen for cancer, and people are still going to die of cancer if you don't stop screening.
Exactly. That's right on. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I did, because it was just about the. I lost it.
No. So I did want to read very quickly to kind of go back to how do we change this? The argument always is this is in the Second Amendment. This is in the Constitution. This is our base laws. And just to read, if you haven't read the Constitution lately, it's a barn burner. The Second Amendment is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So again, it's tied back to the militia. So
Right.
You can
That
interpret
fear
that.
of like a government, like that people should always be able to go after the government if the government's attacking them.
This is, I feel like,
like right now, you wouldn't even be able to do with your gun. Like, you know, how much money we put in defense?
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot a tank with a
Can we go back back to 1780 something, 87 or whatever, whenever they did the Constitution, and say what the equivalent of the AR-15 was is today. Then, like they didn't put into the Constitution the right of citizens to keep and bear a fully armed nautical boat with cannons and bombs.
No, it's like you can keep this musket that will take you 15 minutes to shoot someone with.
Right. Yeah, and it's regulated. And liquor is regulated. The age of voting is regulated, and that's a constitutional.
And those had to change. And those changed. Women gained the right to vote after a really long time, and that was changed in the laws. You know.
No, slavery was in the Constitution.
Exactly. So
there are some things that are not okay anymore.
Yeah, it's a living document, and if we feel as though a society needs to change, then we need to stop being scared of changing something that is clearly not working. You know, I don't want to have my children go to school being scared like that. I don't think anyone wants to go to work and be scared of that anymore.
Unfortunately, the way our Constitution is written, you know, if Congress won't act on it, then the only way to bring that kind of change is through a Continental Congress, which
it's been a while.
It's been a second. Yeah. Seriously, I think people, there's no one alive who's ever lived it. You know what I mean? They go, I don't know how this shit works.
You're going to feel a slight sting.
Oh, I love it.
But afterwards, you won't feel the urge to hurt, kill anyone, gun to school. No.
There, wait a minute. I love to feel like I want to kill.
Yes, but the government wants you to be docile.
Well, that's too bad. I'm not a puppet. You can't put
Your
me
mother
down.
already signed you up for this.
Mom? Why?
I like to see you suffer. That's why I asked her to watch.
Well, we do have somebody in the back that can strap her down if she does resist, but I promise.
I'm very strong.
She's incredibly strong. She wanted to stay in the womb.
God!
I can't believe we fell for it. There's guns everywhere.
Oh, better.
Do you feel different?
Do you feel happy?
No.
Okay. This is normal. Most people feel unhappy when something's taken away from them.
I feel defeated. I thought you were going to have her suffer in front of me.
That can be arranged for an additional copay.
A copay?
$35.
This is bullshit. Get your gun out, honey.
Regulators! Round up! All right, regulators. So, we got liquor regulations, and we got pants regulations.
I have the right ones on, as you can clearly
Yes,
tell.
you do.
We all must wear tan pants.
Mm-hmm. Tan pants.
And blue shirts.
Uh-huh. That's how we roll. Hey, liquor regulations. How are liquor regulations working out today?
Oh, liquor regulations there.
Yeah.
Copacetic. Everything's great.
Copacetic. Could you spell copacetic?
There's a C-O pathetic.
Sounds about right. All right, pants regulators. How are pants doing? I know we were used to be in like the Jinko's generation, the Flares generation. Now we're moving tight, skinny jeans regulations.
That's a quick history of pants.
Yeah. Don't forget about slacks way back in the day.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
I mean, if I had to give you if I had to sum it up in one gesture, how pant regulations is going,
Yeah.
I'd be like.
But can you spell that for us?
Yes. C-O-P-D.
Okay. All right.
Pants regulation is not going well. People like fashion. You know, you can't just say you need a 19-inch open leg Jinkos anymore. No one's buying it.
Nobody wants it anymore.
No. People beat me up.
And how does that make you feel? Okay.
Sad, I think we need to rewrite the laws.
We need to rewrite the laws on pants regulations.
No, all of them.
All of them?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is just pardon me.
Just change all the amendments. Just change them all.
Yeah, let's just reopen it. What's so hard about that?
Reopen everything. All right. Laws, liquor laws, everything.
Wait, are we actually going to do it?
Yeah, why not?
Wow, this seems really easy.
Hey! YOLO, right? Let's do it.
Wow, they didn't have that back in the day.
Yeah, we're all white, man. Yeah, let's do it.
Tom, George, I'm having a hard time with this one.
Well, it's been a while.
We're only on the second one and I can't get past it. The first one was easy. Say whatever you want. The second one, bare arms. Bare arms.
Make it a joke.
Make it a joke.
Excuse me, you writing the amendments?
Yeah.
Could you put one about not having the quarter soldiers? That's just such a burden.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure, but...
Well, I think, you don't have to put it first or second, maybe third or fourth.
John, get your Hancock out of here, okay?
Thank you guys for coming out to our inaugural show. This was a lot of fun. If you liked it, please come back. We're going to be rewriting and redoing a whole new show next month. Every third Thursday of the month, we'll be here doing this show. Thank you guys so much. This has been Hot Takes. Thank you.